Hello everybody. Welcome on into My Sweet Home Living. My name is Tracy Campbell. So excited that you are here today. I have a fun project I know you're going to love. Everyone has been enjoying all of these primitive style projects, so I'm going to keep rolling them out to you as long as you all are enjoying them. So today's project is going to kind of fall right along with some of the things that we've been doing, all with jars. So I'm excited to show you what we're going to do today. And what are you going to do with that? That was the video title that I titled this video as we're going live. And what are you going to do with that? So guess what I have? Well, you know, I've been on this jar kick where I've not been wanting to throw away jars. Well, along with jars comes lots and lots of lids. Okay? So what are you going to do with that? Jar lids. What are we going to do with these today? Stick around. You'll find out how I'm going to show you how to turn these into some beautiful home decor pieces that you can use seasonally throughout the year to decorate your home. So hop on in here, tell me hello, let me know where you are tuning in from. I always love to see where everyone is coming in from. And while everyone is doing that and hopping in, I'll be able to see your comments after today's live. And then we will have the replay available over on YouTube today at 2 p.m. Central. So if you're a YouTuber or if you're a Facebooker, either way, we'll be in both places today eventually. Not at the same time, but eventually. But we have lots of live crafting every day, Monday through Friday, and today is no exception, over in the Craft on the Clock group, which this is a segment of. And if you are watching from the Craft on the Clock group, I would love it if you would let me know that down in the comments below as well. If you don't know about Craft on the Clock group, you need to let me know so I can let you know. And where to find us. It's a free crafting group. We have, like I said, live crafting literally early morning to late at night. Every 45 minutes, a new creator. We have lots of diverse, talented creators and artists in that group. So if you want some inspiration, if you want to kick the cable to the curb and join us over there for some live video broadcasting, you'll want to check it out. Okay, hello Miss Debbie. How are you from Virginia? Stacy from Las Vegas, Sally from Ohio. Welcome on in. I'm so excited you're here. So we've been on a little jar kick lately. So I wanted to kind of show you real quick some of the jar items that we've been working on over the last month or two. We have a little rag ball collection jar. I did this one about 3 weeks ago, I think, 3 or 4 weeks ago. And then we have a little grubby jar. And we actually put a string of lights in this, and so we call this our grubby jar light. Now, I don't have my lights in it right now. I had to unplug it and pull them out so I could pull them over here to the table to show you our little grubby jar light. But this was a big, popular video project that you all seem to love that one. And this one I've done ages ago, and it's a little dusty, to be honest. I probably should have wiped it off. I have it on top of my hutch. But this is just a collection of jarred beans and a string of twine. Now, how easy and simple is that? We're going to take some of these jars today, these same jar ideas. You see this one right here. This is, we made a faux, sort of like a spin on a crock, or like stoneware. If you like stoneware, vintage stoneware, but sometimes the price tags can be a little expensive on those items, I showed you how to do a faux stoneware technique on those and really turn it into something, a big statement piece that you can use in your kitchen. Good morning. Hello from South Carolina. Oh, Southern California. It is morning there where you are if you're watching us live. Yes. Oh, you're watching us from Craft on the Clock, Teresa. Awesome. I have errands to do, but wasn't going to. Oh, thank you, Miss Debbie. I appreciate you being here. So I've showed you several techniques on how to kind of finish off the tops of the jars. We have rusted them. We've grunged them. We've used some cheesecloth and some fabric. So this one we've just left plain. I mean, nothing is as beautiful as a simple vintage jar lid like this. And a lot of times you can find these in multiples. I know I have a vintage store near me where I can find those pretty easy. Now this one we've just wrapped in cheesecloth and a string of fabric with a little bit of this dried sweet Annie. If you want to know where to catch the dried sweet Annie down at the bottom of my screen, there should be a little icon that looks like a chain link, okay? If you tap on that, it will show you some of the popular links that I use. that you all have requested. If you also want to get Telegram notifications right before I go live or a day before I go live, you can sign up for my Telegram channel as well. That link is down there below too, as well as the Craft on the Clock notification system. Now this one, we rusted and grubbed. We grunged it, okay? And that's a lot like this jar technique that we did on here, but we did it on the lid, okay, to make it look real grubby. Well, today's idea is going to be quite a bit different. But if you are in the same kick of saving jars, okay, saving jars like I have been lately. I save jars like from spaghetti sauce, Alfredo sauce, pizza sauce, anything that comes in a jar, you guys, pickles, jalapenos, peppers, all of those things come in nice glass jars. So I can't stand to throw them away, so I'm giving you ideas on how to repurpose them. Thank you for sprinkling us out, Miss Darlia. But this one is, I think this one is actually a barbecue sauce jar. I have saved this one. We're going to work with this one today. But if you like using like the same spaghetti sauce jar or the same, pizza sauce jar, you're probably going to have lots of the lids that are the same. So like, for example, we use this pizza sauce jar. So I have lots of the same jars and lids that are the same size. Which, same with these, Prego, and this one is like an Alfredo sauce jar, and I use these jars a lot as well for my grunge mix. I like to store my grunge mix in these and put it in the fridge. So I have lots of the same repetitive size jars and lids. So this project is going to be good for that. Or if you have lots of lids that you don't have jars for, save them, because I'm going to show you how to take these lids and flip them into something that you can repurpose on your jars. Stick around. We're going to do a fall version today, may even do a little tiny Christmas version of one really quick today, but we're going to start by coating our lid real quick with just a quick layer of paint. Did you guys see the faux tin candle lantern? Right here, we did that on, was it Monday or Tuesday? I don't know, my days have all ran together. We did that, that was our last project, video project. If you missed that, you'll want to go back and catch that. You won't believe what we used to make that candle lantern. Oh, it was so much fun, and it turned out so cute. We even used a surprise element in that project. Hey, Miss Myra, plastic jars and lids. Yes, I think this project could go for that as well. I think you could totally do that. Plastic jars. So like, you would probably want a bigger size jar though. I'm going to say this, I don't know what ounce or whatever, what size this one is. You would, probably your standard size jars are going to be better for this project. Now, if it's plastic, you could maybe make a spin on this. Wait till the end and see what this turns out like, and then you can make your own decision on that. But I think you're going to do better with a glass, something that has weight, although you could put weight in a plastic jar and get away with it. You probably could. But the bigger the size jar, probably the better for this project today. But you could probably find an alternative method for this. I know. We all have all kinds of ideas. So thank you, Miss Rihanna. So you could take this idea and totally make it your own. All right, so let's go with it. Let's get started. And I said I was going to prep this lid first. Now the lid that goes with this particular jar is this one. So this is what I'm going to do first. And all I'm going to do is put a little bit of black chalk paint on it, you guys, really quick. It doesn't have to be a super perfect coating of black. I mean, we're just going to dab it, and I like this chalk paint because it covers well and it adheres well, okay? A lot of the lid is not going to be real visible because we're going to embellish it up, and I'm going to show you exactly what we're going to put on top, which will be a little bit unexpected, I do believe. So let me give this a real quick coat, and you see how quick that went on? Like lightning fast. This is just standard black chalk paint, you guys. Any brand will do as long as it's chalk paint. It will adhere really well. All right, there's that. Now let's stick a little bit of heat to it, and we will move this black brush. I've already got black paint on me. What would be a project if we don't already have paint on us in the first few minutes? All right, let me wipe that off because I do not want to get it on my shirt. Okay. that black paint. It's already almost dry. Okay. I love this little heat tool. It's so quiet. Quiet but mighty. Tiny but mighty. Hello, Miss Juanita. How are you? Thanks for hopping on and letting me know you're here. Hello, Miss Pat from Unique. Thank you for sprinkling me out, sweet friend. I always appreciate you so much. If you guys are not following Miss Pat, her page name is Unique. She is a super sweet individual. I tell you what, I love her to pieces. She is all the way from Canada, and she's just the sweetest soul you'll ever meet. And if you are not following her, you're missing out. I would highly encourage you to go check her page out and let her know that I sent you her way. All right, that's all we did. It's dry. Now, we're moving on to the next step. If you watched our little candle-linked lantern last video, you saw me create that little candle. We're going to do the same thing today. Now, here's the thing. We are making a candle topper that can be changed out for the seasons. Now, why is that lid? There we go. I'm going to go ahead and put that lid on that jar just so it's a little more elevated for me to be able to work on as well. Hey, Miss Mary from Ocean Breeze and Me. Thank you for hopping on today. I appreciate you all being here so much. Now, the shorter your jar, the shorter your little candle topper must be, okay? The taller and wider diameter your jar, the taller jar or candle you could get away with, okay? It's all about proportion. So the smaller height and the smaller diameter, the smaller your candle. So for example, let me show you just on these jars. These are 2 jars. I could get away with a much taller candle. Let's just say I could probably get away with a candle. I'm going to hide the top, probably about that tall on this one, okay? On this jar, I don't think I could get away with a candle that tall. It would look totally out of proportion. So I'm going to shorten it and make it really short, okay? And that's just the reason why I'm making this little taper candle, because I can't find taper candles that are this height that would work for this little mini jar, okay? So I'm going to shorten it down. I'm just going to eyeball it. And actually, I think the shorter the better on this cute little jar. I'm going to go ahead and cut it right here. And I'm using an X-Acto knife. You could use a box cutter. Now, why is my little... Oh, it's loose. That's why. Well. Technical difficulties. My little blade came right out of there. I usually use my box cutter, but my husband took it to work today and I didn't have it. There we go. Hopefully we're good to go. So I'm using my little mini X-Acto little craft knife today. Hopefully we're good to go. No, it's still sliding out. What in the dickens is going on? Okay, I think I have it tight, but that when it keeps wanting to pull it right back out. All right, we're gonna manage. I'm gonna try to cut this as straight as possible, but I don't know, if you guys are like me, I never can cut or draw a straight line without a ruler of some sort. All right, we almost got it. I'm just trying to be careful. I do not want to cut my fingers. All right, so this is gonna be our little candle. What do you want to call that? Little taper candle that we're putting together here. Now, this is a little, I've got it a little crooked on the bottom. I don't know if, I'm going to try to straighten it up just a tiny bit so that it sits somewhat flat. The bottom of this is not really going to show at all. So if it's not a real clean cut, it's okay. You can get away with it. Now, I have already painted this tube. Oh, by the way, I didn't even tell you what this tube was, you guys. I'm so sorry. This is a piece of trash. It's a piece of garbage in the sense that it is a used aluminum foil roll, like a paper towel roll. Well, this is what comes inside of aluminum foil. Your aluminum foil is wrapped around it, and whenever you use it, this is what you're left with, a pretty heavy-duty, hardcore cardboard tube. Now, it's smaller than a paper towel roll, and it's much thicker. Do you see that, the thickness of the wall of that tube? So that's why I'm using this. A paper towel roll would probably be way too thin for this, okay? So that's why I'm going with, there we go. All right, now we're gonna do that number right there, just like so. All right, now what I'm gonna do next, I do have to paint this little candle because we are making this a faux candle. Where did my little jar go? My little yogurt jars, there they are. I love using these little yogurt jars to mix my paint. So that's what we're gonna do. But first, I need to decide which is gonna be the top of my candle. I think I'm gonna actually, I know this end is very, very straight because that was the end of the roll. I can disguise this up at the top with my hot glue. So that's what we're gonna do here. First, I'm all out of whack here, you guys. All right, so let me show you what I'm using for the white. In case you didn't see that last video, I'm gonna spin you through this process and show you how to make these cute little taper candles. I have cords tangled up everywhere, you guys. Hold on. Okay. Here we are. So these little candle, when you put these together, these little candles, this is what's going to go inside of my tube. Now, if you don't know what these are, check out the Christmas Village aisle at Walmart or wherever. Typically, they have these when it comes time for the holidays around the little Christmas Village houses. You can put them inside, okay? They have these little clamps on the side. You put it in, and then these pop in and hold it in place inside your little Christmas Village houses. I love these things. I have extras of these, and so I've been using them. And they are the perfect fit to go up in this tube if you clip off the clamp, okay? Now, this little clamp is plastic. All I'm going to use is my little clamp cutters here and clip that right off, okay? It comes right off, just like that, okay? Now, it's going to slide right in this little tube perfectly, all right? Now, it is going to be a little offset, so what you'll probably want to do is put a little dab of glue inside on that edge and hold it in place so it stays secure. Now, I want just the inside rim of this little light to sit right down on the inside of this tube. And as soon as I get that hot glue set, I'm going to show you what it looks like. Then we're going to take our hot glue and we're going to make some faux wax strips. Okay? Hello, Miss Lisa. Let's see, who am I missing? Miss Mary and Vicki, how are you? I'm trying to make sure that it's stuck on there. Okay, so here's what there's kind of what it looks like right there. It's set down in there a little bit, okay? Now, is it perfectly centered? No. If you want it perfectly centered, you could probably weasel in a little bit of some aluminum foil around the inside of there, and that would kind of act as a little placeholder with a little bit of hot glue, okay? I'm good with the way it is. Now, the other thing that we need to do is we need to cut a little notch out of the bottom of this tube to allow for our cord to allow this tube to set flush down on the top of our lid. So we're going to cut out a little notch at the bottom, just enough to allow that little cord to just set right into, and it will not be visible. It's going to be very well hidden. So let me cut this little notch out. This little X-Acto knife is perfect for this because you can make a real clean cut, and let me show you what we've done there. Okay, close-up view right here. Ignore my painted fingers. So I've made the little notch. Let me show you. There's the little notch, okay? And the little notch is just big enough to allow my little cord a little holding place right there, okay? And that will allow our tube to set flush on the top of our jar, just like so, all right? Now, I'm not gonna glue this down just yet. I need to put some hot glue. We're gonna make this look like wax strips, okay? So I start at the bottom of my drips because that's where your little clump would form when you use your hot glue. So I'm gonna start at the bottom and kind of wiggle and drag it up to the top. So there's our first little wax melt drip, okay? You're just gonna create staggering little drips, you guys. All the way around. You can add more, less, it's all a personal preference, really. There's no right or wrong way to do it. All right. And make sure your glue is dry before you start tilting it. Or you might have some sideways drips. That wouldn't look very realistic, now would it? Okay. All right. I am going to go around the rim of this with a little bit of hot glue, and if some drips over, that's perfectly okay. But that will kind of hide that unfinished edge around the top. Okay. Now that one, I went a little cuckoo. That little streamer, that little wax stream, went a little crooked on me, so I may have to doctor that one up later. It's not in the front, it's actually kind of in the back, so I think we'll be fine. Now you want to let that dry, and then you're going to give it a coat of some paint. Of some sort. Whatever color you want to use is totally up to you. Whatever color you want your candle to be. Now this little candle right here that we created a few days ago, I used, what colors did I use? I used a little bit of an antique white mixed in with my grunge mix to create that kind of a, it's sort of like I don't know what you want to call it. Ochre color, I think is what they maybe call that. Actually, I've seen some paint with that color in it before, that color. And I think that's kind of the color they call it. So, actually, I'm going to go ahead and mix quite a bit of this in there because we're going to use this on our jar in a minute too. So, I've put in a little bit of some white chalk paint. Excuse me, you guys. This is still a little touchy, but I think it's okay if we sit it down. I'm taking a little bit of my grunge mix because you guys know I love this grunge mix for so many things. So many things. And I'm going to pour a little bit in with my chalk paint. That's not only going to help it dilute it a little bit, but it's also going to give it a little bit of that grungy coloration to it. So that it's not so white. Now when you first do that, it's going to look highly sketchy. See that? But mix it up, never fear. Coffee grunge is your friend. Coffee grunge is your friend. All right, now this is going to be a real good, I am splashing this everywhere. Hold on. Hold on. I'm going to have to, that was saved. Okay. I need to mix a little bit more delicately. Hello, Darlia. Okay, no problem. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great day. Now, so let me show you what that looks like. It's a little brighter on camera. It's just a soft, I don't even know what color I would call that. I don't know what color. I can't think of a good name for it. If you want it darker, you could add, let's just go for it. Let's add a little bit of instant coffee to it. Let's do it. I'm all about trying all kinds of things here. Now that grunge mix, it already has some coffee, instant coffee, crystals, granules, whatever you want to call them, in it. But I kind of want a little bit more of a darker color. So we're going to mix a few of those coffee grains in here and see what we come up with. It hasn't done much, so maybe I need to go a little bit more. Ooh, we really might go crazy here. I put a little too much in there. We'll see. We can always add more paint, right? Let's give it a start. I'm going to show you guys in a second what kind of change we have. It will take a little bit for that instant coffee to kind of dissolve. Oh, I like this. I like this. Okay. Hello. I saw you on the live last night. Oh, well, you're welcome. You're welcome. Remind me of your name again. I know there's been so many new faces around lately, and I want to make sure that I remember your names with your page names and your faces as well. And I really try hard to do that. So help me out and let me know what your name is again. Instant coffee. Yes, that's what I've just sprinkled in here. Okay, now that's going to give it a little bit of a texture to it, which I'm okay because I love the grubbiness. Now, do you see how it kind of made it a little bit more of a vintagey color? I don't know what color. What color would you call that? I don't know. but I like it. I like it. Now the good thing about this is you can put this, put a little lid on this and save it in your fridge if you don't use it all, and use it on your next project. This is just a real creamy, gosh, I can't think of a good word for this. My brain is just leaving now. I got way too much paint on my brush. Because this, it does liquefy it quite a bit, but that's okay. You'll just have to know that you need to wipe the excess off. You definitely don't want to get any paint down in your little light receptacle. Now, I would probably, if you were doing this on your own, I would wait till the very end after this dries to put your light receptacle in there, okay? That way you don't take a chance on getting anything in it. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the excess off of my brush. So if you have paint colors, don't go out and buy new paint, okay? If you're like me, I don't paint a whole lot, but I have tons of like acrylic craft paints of random colors. I mean, like all kinds of colors, because my kids, you know, sometimes they'll like to use paint for different projects, and if you buy, you know, some paint, you typically have some left over. If it's not the right shade, if you want to make it look more primitive, add a little bit of the coffee grunge mix to it. It grunges it down, it dulls the color, and gives you that vintage look to it, okay? So it's just an easy technique that I've kind of learned to do. And it, like I said, I added a little bit of coffee grunge mix. Now it did make it watery a little bit. So I didn't want to add more coffee grunge mix to get a little bit deeper of a color. So then that's when I pulled out the instant coffee and added that in. All right. So you can kind of balance it out in that way. I'm kind of going around the top rim with this paint and just covering that raw edge up, and then that also covers the hot glue as well. All right, now let's hit this with a little bit of heat. I'm not going to go crazy with the heat because remember we do have hot glue on there for our little wax strips. Now, the next step to this, and what I did on my little candle the other day, I took a little bit of my distressed oxide inks or ink pads of some sort and just did a little bit of shading around the top edges and around those wax strips. I did not grab my inks today and bring them to the table, so we will have to imagine. We will just imagine. And this grunge, using this a little bit of this grunge in here, it's going to give it a little bit of a shading look anyway because it has that cinnamon and that instant coffee. So you will get a little bit of irregular shading, which is perfect. Okay, it gives it that, you know, that little bit of a color to it. My light is one. There you go. It's just soft, creamy. It almost looks like a mix between vanilla and chocolate. It's a happy little mix there. What is in the Coffee Grunge Mix Show? If you go to my page, My Sweet Home Living on Facebook, you can usually always find that recipe. It's a mix, a real easy mix. I will tell you what it is. But if you want that recipe to save it, you can save the image that's on your phone. It's pinned at the top of my Facebook page, Coffee Grunge Mix. It is a cup of hot water, a half a cup of instant coffee grains. It has to be instant coffee grains. And then, goodness, 2 tablespoons of cinnamon and 2 tablespoons of vanilla. If you want to add like nutmeg, hey Miss Beth from the Crafty Edge, how are you, sweet lady? If you want to add some other spices to it, you totally can. You can get away with putting whatever you want in it. But those are the basic ingredients. 4 ingredients: hot water, instant coffee, cinnamon, and vanilla. And then I store it in a jar, and when I'm not using it, I store it in my fridge to keep it from going bad. Then when I'm ready to use it, when I pull it out of my fridge and it's cold, the coffee and the cinnamon, well, this one won't do it because I've already heated that. The coffee and the cinnamon will settle down and make a sediment at the bottom of your jar. So I take my lid off, I pop this jar in the microwave for about a minute, depending on how much liquid you have in here. I mean, if it's almost empty, you wouldn't want to put it in there for very long. Put it in there for a minute, warm it up. Then I put the lid back on it and give it a good shake for a minute or 2, and that releases all that sediment and gets all of the good ingredients mixed back up in there really well. If you pull it straight out of the fridge and use it without shaking it or heating it, it won't be as dark and you won't get the good cinnamon speckles. Okay, that cinnamon creates some little speckles on there. Now this is not completely dry, but it's dry enough so we can go on. So I'm going to put some hot glue on the bottom of this little candle, and we're going to put it right on our jar lid, top and center here. This is going to be cute. Oh, I hope I didn't touch that where it didn't need to be touched yet. I think we're okay. I can always go back and touch it up later after I get off here with you guys. But I want to show you how to do that. So this is what we have so far. Now, does that not look cool already? Yes, it does. It sure does. And, all right, so I forgot to grab an extra light bulb. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this little light bulb out of this one. And we're going to pop it right in here so you guys can see what we got going on. Okay, my hot glue came loose on there, but we'll see if I've got it screwed in good enough. And I'm going to plug this in and show you guys what we got working here. Yeah, there we go. I had it plugged in, or screwed in enough. It needs to be screwed in just a little bit more, but my hot glue, and I don't want to touch it too much because it's still drying on the outside of that. But that's what we have so far. Now imagine that that is straight. I'm going to go back and doctor that up a little bit after my glue drips dry. If I start holding it real tight, I'm going to have fingerprints and smashes on my glue drips, so I'm not going to go there. Not going to go there. Now let's dress this up. You could totally go all kinds of directions here. I think what I'm going to do, I have this little strip of kind of like homespun gingham type material. It's just a scrap piece. You can use anything you got. Anything you got. This one has not been coffee grunged, and I don't have a whole lot of time. Didn't want to coffee grunge a whole batch of fabric this morning. So all I'm going to do is take my coffee grunge, and I'm going to go over this little strip really quick, and then it can dry while we're embellishing the top of this. I'm going to put on a real thin coat so it will dry even faster. All right, and you can see how it transforms the color of this material, this fabric, into making it look like it's vintage and been around for a long time. Now, if you want to, you can totally put some drips on this after it dries, kind of layer in that coloring. Okay, I did not get this back side, and it didn't soak all the way through because I went so light on there. Let's dab that, make sure it's all covered. Okay, so real quick, a before and after. The coffee grunge look. Now, which one looks more authentically vintage there? You know, that's the same piece of material, you guys. All we did was add a little bit of that coffee grunge to it. And this will dry up really quick. All right, so while this is drying, I'm going to hang this right over the edge. I do believe, maybe, maybe not. Let's see here. There we go. Kind of have to set it up. There we go. Cooperate with me. I need about 4 hands. Don't you guys say that sometimes too? Okay, we're good. Now, I could paint this jar. Could totally paint it up. I could add some potpourri to this jar. I could add some rose hips. I could add some little mini rag balls. The sky's the limit. Oop, and I just totally unplugged it. But I think what I'm going to do with this, you could totally paint it with chalk paint and let it crackle. But I don't think I have time for that today. So what I'm probably going to do is I'm just going to transfer some of these dried beans and put in there just so you guys get an idea of what it looks like. I am going to also use some rusty stars, maybe 2 or 3, I don't know, we'll see. All right, we're going to fill this up just as a little filler. Love using these dried beans. They're just earthy, something rustic looking. I love the colors of them. You could use this in your kitchen, of course. If you wanted to make something like this to sit in your laundry room, how cute would some bundles of wool? You know, you could use some wool in there. Or the rag balls would look cute too in a laundry room. What did I do with the lid of this? there. I was like, where? It's like one of those hidden pictures, you know, everything's kind of disguised. All right, now I think I'm going to take these rusty stars and I'm going to tuck them down in there so that you can kind of see these from around the sides. Okay, there we go. Oh, the light's wanting to glare off here. So tricky when it works when you're working with glass jars for photos, you guys, because that very reason the light wants to glare right off of them. All right, I need to poke that down in there. Okay, just to add a little bit of something else different. All right, and I'll tuck one more back here. Try to get it around the edge so that it's visible. Ah, that one ended up really close to the other one. How did that happen? I don't know. I don't know. All right, we're leaving it as is. I can go back and doctor that up later, but you guys get the gist. Okay, so now for the top. Why does this keep making a noise? Got me worried here. I'm going to go ahead and kind of cut this off. I know it's not completely dry. I'm going to cut it at an angle because we're running short on time. We have another creator coming up in just a couple of minutes, you guys. Just a couple of minutes. So I think here's what I'm going to do. You can embellish this up with any kind of little greenery, sprigs, anything you got, right? So I like this little fall sprig. Now the thing about this is you could create several different versions of these lids. A jar, same fitting lid for your jar. You can create one for each season, one for each holiday, or if you are a creator and you want to sell these at a craft show, okay? So you could create this as a kit, okay? And then an upsell for another type of kit would be a set of lids for each season or a set of lids for the holidays. So that's how you can upsell. You could sell this for probably 20 bucks, okay? Embellished, okay? Give them the base price, okay, of 20 bucks. And then if they want the kit that has all of the seasons, or if they want three seasons, of the lids, replacement lids that they can go along with it, you could upsell those as well as a kit, okay? So really think outside of the box. You could really kind of go crazy with these and make these highly collectible pieces, okay? Once your shoppers get on with the idea, they can see how they can go crazy with it, So think outside of the box here. These have little pip berries and acorns. So obviously this would be my fall themed lid, okay? And then I would create another one for Christmas. Then you could do one for spring and summer as well. You could do one Americana. How cute would that be with some red, white, and blue? That would be precious. Woohoo, that is hot, you guys. On my fingers. Now I'm kind of wrapping this around. You could use a candle ring as well. You could use, if you're making this for yourself and you want to make this really easy and simple to switch out, use a candle ring. Use a little candle ring, something like that, pop it on there. You've got it, good to go. But if you're selling this as, as a project or as in a craft show, I would go a little bit more in detail so that they really feel like they're getting a big, really cute, substantial piece without a lot of money at all, because you guys, you're using a jar, you're using jars. You can find jars really inexpensive, even if you're not using jars that you are throwing away, because if you're making a set of lids, you would probably have to order these in bulk and have, that way you would have all the lids and the jars to fit in size, if that makes sense. Okay, now we are about out of time. We're about out of time. All right, I'm going to take this little lid, or this little ribbon. Now my cord is hanging out the back, so I'm going to take this piece of fabric, I'm going to wrap it around the back, and that will kind of hold that, it holds that cord in place in the back, okay? And we've secured it in the front. You can embellish this with another little rusty star on the front. That's my favorite, guys. Embellish this with a sweet little star on the front, and how cute How cute is that? I got to straighten up my light bulb, glue on my star, and I will take a photo, a staged photo for you guys to see and post it here on my page over on YouTube as well. Y'all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining me today. Our next creator is coming up live right now over in the Craft on the Clock group on Facebook. Go check them out. You all have a wonderful day.